That's right. Back with another lukewarm take is me. Listen, you know it's expensive. The Tomic Shinkansen Series 400 Bullet Train 6-car set. You know what else is expensive? Video games. That's really the more important set. Do leave a like and comment below if you really want to hear me talk about model trains. I know nothing about them, but I'd love to talk about them. You know, video games, they're kind of expensive to make. You ever stop to consider that? You ever think about that?
Silly?
Yeah, they're expensive, and you know what? Where a lot of the money goes? I'm really tired. I'm just winded after jumping off the couch. You know where a lot of that money goes? Audio, specifically music. And that, because if you could tell by the title, that's what we're going to talk about. It takes so much time, effort, and money to make a video game that it's honestly just a miracle that we even have any to play. So if video games are so expensive to make, why put licensed music in them? Now, the pros of this really come down to sort of like cost-benefit analysis. When you put a known song in a game or a movie or whatever, people can like instantly attach to it, and if they like the song, then they like the piece of media that's going with it. Take, for example, the entire platform of TikTok. You've got random kids with, dare I say it, very little talent, just lip syncing. And because a lot of people really like the song, they just kind of go,
Is this music? I can't get enough of that sweet music.
I like this. I like the music, and therefore I like the image. Because sound does a lot for us. You know, we don't really think about that a whole lot. Just listen to a movie with like bad sound editing or no Foley. It's just bad. Like, sound is the secret key ingredient to making any good type of media. So in my research, I can only find 5 possible good use cases for putting licensed music in a game. The first one being just creating the setting like in GTA games or Fallout games. Then you have baked in needs like DDR or Guitar Hero. You have good background music for things like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I called the 4th category converting covers, so changing well-known songs into something that's more appropriate for the game that it's in. Something like BioShock Infinite with their covers of like REM songs and Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And finally, the most perplexing case for me being the one-off uses like Far Cry 3, where it's just kind of in the game for like half a mission and then just is never seen again. But we'll get to all of these in due time. Let's start off with the first one. So the first use type I'm going to talk about is setting the world. And by that, I mean really putting an atmosphere to the game that's orally representative of either the time or the place. Something like I almost said Miami Vice, wow. GTA Vice City, where it's mostly 80s themed or Florida based or something to that effect. You know, you have San Andreas, which is a lot of the 90s rap. Now, GTA might be the best known, but in my opinion, I've already said it, my opinion like 800 times. This whole thing's my goddamn opinion. GTA needs 0% more praise than it already gets. Everyone loves it. Everyone who loves it tells everyone that they love it, and Rockstar knows that. That's why they're making so much money. The Fallout series has also done this, but takes it in a very different route, where you don't really know the songs ahead of time. And if you do, you're either very old or you're very pretentious and exclusively listen to 1940s era music, which is great for you, but don't come at me with that bullshit. But either way, the music sets the tone of not only the game, but the setting that you're playing in. And I think that that's an important choice. It's a good one, also very expensive. That's a lot of music to license. And I feel bad for their lawyers, or their marketing department, or their budget department. I don't know. Number 2, the baked-in category. This is stuff like DDR or Guitar Hero Rock Band, DJ Hero for some, where the tracks are almost a mandatory part of the game. I don't know about you. Actually, I do know about you and literally everyone else who plays these games, you never go for a track that you don't know. You always start with the good stuff that you do know. And because, it's fun to play those. But then eventually you come around because the game forces you, or you just push your boundaries and you start playing new songs and you like those songs. But those have to have good songs, because God knows I'm not going to play Guitar Hero where all the tracks are just Kevin MacLeod, royalty-free, copyright-free, Creative Commons songs. I'm a big fan of the Birdman himself and his games. I think most people do enjoy skating around at the speed of sound, but that game would suck if it didn't have, well, it wouldn't suck. Okay, hold on. This is lukewarm takes, not hot takes. That game would be a fraction of what it is if it wasn't for a dope track list. Like, what's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 without Superman by Goldfinger? It's just okay. It barely holds up against 2 and 3. It's just fucking good, dude. I'm a sucker for a Madden game, but if you don't have a bumpin' soundtrack on all the sliders and menus, and I mean all the sliders, menus, and loading screens, because good God, 90% of sports games are sliders, menus, team building, rosters, and all the bullshit that I didn't sign up for when I just wanted to kick a ball into a net or give some man a brain concussion so that he's an invalid by the age of 40 and he can no longer play catch with his son. Anyway, these games would not really be much without that kind of licensed music, and again, I don't know if I would want to play them without said music. I just think these games are better for having licensed music. Now, number 4 is a rather rare case. You don't see this much because it requires a little bit more than 1, 2, or 3. The prime example for me being BioShock Infinite, where they have a band rework modern songs into 1800s aesthetics and then fit those into different ways into the game. And all those different songs are also genre bent too. I don't know, there's a lot of work that went into that, and I don't think they use it a whole lot. They use it more than my next example, which is Stubbs the Zombie, a weird game that I've wanted to talk about.
You've got mail.
For about 2 years now. It's a retro future type game that, yes, I checked my watch. It's an invisible one, because yeah, it's hi, welcome to the new Rolex. It's invisible. Only you can see it, so everyone can mind their own business. It is a very strange Xbox exclusive made by the guys who made Halo in the same engine. You play as the titular Stubbs the Zombie, looking for love in a retro future city. Sounds weird, I know. It is weird. It's not the greatest of games. Not even that fun, but I love it, and I have this weird nostalgia for it. Anyway, the more important issue is the dope soundtrack. You see, what they did was they hired a bunch of indie bands like Death Cab for Cutie, Oranger, the Ravenettes to do covers of 40s and 50s hit tunes. So what they've effectively done is taken a modern band at the time and taken a song that fits the time period and meshed the two together and got something that is arguably the best soundtrack in all of video games, the most untalked about soundtrack in all of video games. I promise you that you will have a great time if you look up the Stubbs the Zombie soundtrack. 0 people are going to notice that. Brianna. What? No one cares about our couch. We've come to the final, yet most important segment in the episode. Say it with me. You didn't say it with me. Hold on. Let me say it with me. No. Don't actually say something. I'm just gonna talk. Dude, this camera, it's just gonna be a bit. It's not a bit. When I up. Don't. No. Just don't. Stop. Just no. All right, ready? I'm gonna do this take, and you're not gonna do anything. Okay, ready? All right, say it with me. I don't even remember what the bit was. Thank you. It's one-off song moments, and it always stands out like a sore thumb. My key example being Far Cry 3, where you have the mission that you go and you use the flamethrower and plays that Skrillex song. And it made me wonder, they use the whole song. Like, you can wait, you can stop, and the song just loops around again. But that song never comes back into play again. And in 4, we see that same thing with the Clash's Should I Stay or Should I Go, where it almost exclusively plays at the end. That was a very expensive thing to put in there. Why'd you do it? Why not just have like really epic music that you've written yourself? And by yourself, I mean the entire company has to write the song. You know, the hellish landscape of getting a programmer to write music, or the head of development to write music, or the CEO to write music. There is also like off cases where the song does really fit into the world, but again is only used once. So something like Bobby Darin's Beyond the Sea and BioShock 1. And to be honest, I really like that inclusion. And I'm not gonna... the game already has a great soundtrack, and that just sort of is the cherry on top of the soundtrack. Then there's some, like, weird offshoots where, yeah, it does sort of, like, fit into the world. In a game like 2006's Prey, where the opening scene's in a bar, and you can just flip through a bunch of songs on the jukebox. But, again, never comes into play. What's the point? Like, that's just... It's asinine. Call of Duty Modern Warfare does it with Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones, but that's sort of like a Vietnam era level, and if you're a Martin Scorsese fan, you sort of associate Vietnam with the Rolling Stones because somehow Scorsese scored like a 4-for-1 deal with the Rolling Stones where he gets to use Paint It Black, Give Me Shelter, and Sympathy for the Devil in like every fucking film of his, so... I mean, I guess that just kind of makes sense. Vietnam equals Rolling Stones. Borderlands 2 is a weird case where I'll give them a pass in how they used it. Not to say that I wouldn't like more. Ain't No Rest for the Wicked was definitely a reason why Borderlands 1 sold well, and also that Cage the Elephant song became so popular. I think they were really symbiotically related. I think that's the best use case for licensed music in video games, where it's very much a natural connection between game, studio, and artist. But the battle rages on to whether licensed music or music made specifically for the game is better. It really just comes down to time, place, and manner as to whether or not the game needs, you know, fucking Superman by Goldfinger. Would I have liked to seen Superman by Goldfinger in something like Skyrim? Fuck yeah, who doesn't? I'd like to see Superman by Goldfinger in every video game, but we can't all have that, and I think that all the members of Goldfinger would love that as well as I would love that, but, you know, c'est la vie. If the music fits, you must acquit. It's not what he said, it's what I said. Anyway, from all of us here in our Los Angeles studios, I've been Jim Henson. Thank you for joining us. Good night.